We've had some news lately that Shell closed up all their hydrogen stations in California. And one of the problems with hydrogen is it's not cheap. I was reading something that was telling me that a tank of hydrogen was running $160 to $180 a tank. And it made it 3 times as expensive to fill up as if you were just buying gas. In the United States, the only places you can buy hydrogen are pretty much in California. There's a couple of one-off exceptions in some other states, but Toyota has been the leader there, right, with the Mirai. But they've only sold that in California because it's the only place you could fuel it. Yeah, so hydrogen certainly has hit some bumps in the road. And when Shell shut down all those hydrogen stations, it wasn't just in the U.S. Other companies in Europe did the same thing. And so it's not been a great thing for hydrogen. So this was kind of positive news. Because I have people all the time come up to me. It's like, oh, hydrogen's going to replace EVs anyway, right?
The robot hydrogen's always been the biggest knock against EVs is charging, right? Hey, how am I going to charge it? How am I going to charge it quickly? And you look at a hydrogen, isn't that just exacerbating the problem? I mean, and you can find a wall plug anywhere. And at the end of the day, you can plug in. It's going to take me 2 days to charge, but I can do it. But the availability of hydrogen, it's just one of those, people don't have it. It's not an available thing.
Well, you and I were talking about apartments last week, and one of the things we were talking about was level 1 charging. And just a basic wall plug, you get about 5 miles of range every hour plugged in. So if you plugged in, just thinking like at a hotel or an apartment or whatever, every night you get 40 to 60 miles of range. It's not a crazy amount. It's certainly not filling up your EV, but it's certainly enough to get it to a supercharger somewhere, right? Because this is one of the things, like people always talk about, there's no charging. Well, there's an electric outlet. The electric outlets are far more common than gas stations, right? But the one thing the hydrogen kind of has going for it is essentially the hydrogen pumps look just like a regular gas station. You fill it the same way. You have the same convenience of pulling through. So if you have a trailer, it's convenient. And I think hydrogen is going to have some applications in aviation, and it's going to have some applications probably in big ships.
Yeah.
I'm just not convinced that it's going to be as big in cars as some people hope it to be. But you never know. It would be great if it was, I suppose.
It's not a bad thing. And we'll see. The market will be the market, and the market will play out, and what's the cheapest, most effective, most desirable, everything like that is going to rise to the top. But I just can't get past it. It's another layer of infrastructure that we have to put on top of everything.
I know. And right now we're having enough issues with electrical infrastructure, right? Well, anyways, here is this Honda CR-V. And I'm going to say, in all fairness to Honda, it's a nice looking vehicle. And there it's sitting at a hydrogen filling station, although I can't imagine where this is. This couldn't just be a concept drawing, but it looks very realistic, right? I mean, it's obviously, even for a Honda CR-V, it's much nicer than when I think of a CR-V, what they look like.
The CR-V's changed a lot over the years. I mean, it's almost the size of what a Pilot used to be, a decade ago, and where it's at. So they've done some nice things with it, I think.
Yeah. So anyways, this compact SUV has a hydrogen powertrain with plug-in capability. The Honda says has a peak output of 174 horsepower and 229 pound-feet of torque. The battery pack will provide 29 miles of EV range and can be leased in California later this year. Obviously, it's going to be a California-only vehicle. It's the only place where there's any hydrogen. Well, this was from Car and Driver. The Honda CR-V is currently our favorite compact SUV. Its powertrains include a 190 horsepower Turbo 4 or an optional 204 horsepower hybrid. This adds a third powertrain of a hydrogen fuel cell system with plug-in. Now, I'm a real big fan of plug-in hybrids. The big drawback that typically happens, especially in fleet situations with plug-ins, is people never plug them in. They just go buy gas like they would normally. Then you're just basically kind of wasting the capabilities. But this has a 17.7 kilowatt hour battery in the floor to provide extra juice. It probably helps accelerate the vehicle. It probably accelerates on the electric. You'll know we were both thinking that 17.7 ought to give it closer to 50 to 60 mile range.
Well, and even conservatively, right? I mean, it should be 50. 50 would be very reasonable.
Yeah, 50 would be reasonable. 29 just seems really low. I'm not sure why that is the range of this vehicle. But with the hydrogen, it has a range of 270 miles of driving. Its estimates compared to gas would be 61 city, 52 highway, and 57 combined. Could you imagine buying one of these? Or I guess you can only lease them. They don't actually sell them. You've got to be close to a hydrogen fueling station. Because that 29-mile range just on the EV portion isn't huge, that's for sure.
At the end of the day, that's not going to get you very far. For 3 hours worth of charging or whatever it is, that's not going to take you very far.
They got some nice things that they're making it nice looking. Every hydrogen powered is touring trim, digital gauge cluster, 9-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, 12-speaker Bose system, heated front seats. I could see it being popular just because it has nice features in the base model. Bill's always complaining that people that have plug-ins never remember to plug them in, and makes for a challenge too, even though electricity is the cheapest source of fuel that you could put in a vehicle.
I always liked the idea of the hybrid plug-ins and what it is just as a entry point into electric vehicles, and you start to build some of those habits in for most people's daily driving. I mean, if you remember to plug it in every night, that's more than you need.
Well, you think even if you're traveling, then you can fill up with gas, then you get to a hotel, you can plug in at the hotel overnight if it's got level 1 charging.
And it's a one car solution for folks. You have a city driving car and you also have a vehicle. All right, I feel comfortable. I can take this out on the highway for a day's worth of driving and not be stuck at where does there happen to be a fast charging station, and can I get time on it, and what does it look like? Sounds like Honda's just rolling the dice and see what combos we can come up with. see what sticks.
Maybe they're not planning on making that many. Maybe they're only planning on making 10,000.
The idea of like a concept car. I mean, this is a concept class, a hybrid electric plug-in or a hydrogen hybrid electric plug-in.
I'm sure hydrogen will be a lot cheaper of a fuel once there's widespread adoption, but it can't keep costing 3 times as much as gas and ever be viable.
Yeah. And you and I talked a little bit earlier too, one of the other options out there that comes up is compressed natural gas, CNG powered vehicles. I know locally our gas source, metropolitan utilities, they have a lot of those vehicles, for their own personal fleet that they've used. Our local buses are now CNG, but it's the same deal. They have a central refueling hub. You have to go back to this spot. We're going to go there every night. There's infrastructure and everything like that. But as a potential, here's another alternative source that we could look at. That one's out there too. But I know that's been slow on the draw as well.
Hi, I'm David with EV World News. If you like this video, then please press the like button. If you like the content and would like to see more videos on electric vehicles, then please hit the subscribe button. If you have some feedback for us, please let us know in the comments. Have a great day.